citizens of the world. If you are questioning the state of the human race or blissfully unaware of how we got to this point, I can narrow it down for you in one easy answer. We are where we are today because 9/11 was never prosecuted. Nor was there ever going to be, as CNN within an hour or so was already reading scripted lines about Osama bin Laden, who we know was a CIA boogeyman created to further the terrorist plot. They had to unleash Nazis on the world, and have you support it with your I support our troops bumper sticker, just as they have you still supporting Nazis in Ukraine that are outright blatant Nazis. Many of you might still even believe the scripted repeated narrative about 9/11, but maybe a few of you have found out the truth real anonymous actors have been showing for over 20 years. But because so many believe things are not real when their beloved favorite news channel calls it a conspiracy to believe anything but the official narrative spoon-fed to you by bought and paid for plebs like Dan Rather or CIA Mockingbird agent Anderson Cooper, most of you believe 2 planes hit the World Trade Center when they didn't. You say things like put on my tin foil hat as we warned of the Nazi New World Order and about things to come that now have passed, and left you completely in shock that your own government could do such a thing. Instead of the prosperous world of peace and understanding that the internet could have been the foundation for, because of the psychotic elites and their insatiable greed and desire for endless power, we are now living in a fake synthetic world engineered by a pathological satanic cabal in a symbiotic incestuous relationship with security agencies such as the state global crime syndicate known as the CIA, Murder Incorporated, and one that was brought about and predicted by CIA Director William Casey in 1981 when he stated, "We'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false." Because of advances in global communications, Casey's statement now can include most of the world's public. We are anonymous. And we have now even seen the global population be convinced that Anonymous is a troll group of kiddie skid hackers that bully people that support Trump with fascism attacks or the Nazi fascist attacks on journalism that actually tells the truth, as these takes working for government do. Anyone not following the CIA global narrative regurgitated from the mainstream media they will attack. As they attack QAnon for exposing their masters. Because accounts like Your Anon News is run by Michael Womack, a New World Order puppet that should be unfollowed, but alas he has 8 million followers, and if you do not understand how that is a bad thing, just remember they are called online influencers. Online influencers. Get it? Words have meanings, you know, and all you have to do is listen. Do you ever hear the words you say? The things you repeat by the ones influencing your own thoughts, because face it, as awake as you are, you're still a brainwashed sheep that only cares about Ukraine because you were told to care by the news, the celebrities there. Online influencing and anonymous attacking Russia keeps you in the anti-Russia hate you have been indoctrinated by your whole life. So you now think Anonymous is an abortion, anti-Russia, Black Lives Matter supporting, government agenda pushing, CNN narrative repeating shill that barks big threats at Elon Musk. If you believe that, you must certainly are very much delusional and brainwashed. In 1981 disinformation was being made possible by the CIA's Mockingbird media program in an age when journalists and writers were believed, and it would have been considered an outrage if the government was fabricating reality for the consumption of the masses. Mockingbird was exposed by it was never stopped, it was only renamed Orion, and hidden even deeper under the layers of what the CIA brags about today as being an onion. Since those early days, the so-called global elites, the billionaire, now trillionaire, class, have systematically bought and taken over almost all of the global media, and in the last 20 years almost all of the internet as well. They used to operate in secret, but today control almost everything openly. They rule and increase their influence, power and wealth by deception, obfuscation, blackmail and eliminating or buying all of their competition. They assassinate, destroy, dirty and arrest anyone and anything which threatens to expose them. Thus, with the help of the CIA, the FVEY and moneyed Zionist banksters, they now control almost all outlets and voices and have expanded, advanced and developed the Mockingbird into an insidious global web of lies and misinformation designed to maintain and increase their power and obfuscate and hide their endless crimes, none more egregious and far-reaching as the false flag terrorist attack of 9/11. With the systematic elimination of almost every journalist and the taking of control of every outlet, they have thrown humanity into the paradigm we are now forced to exist in. Today there is almost no one left who dares to speak out against these criminal satanic elites and their collaborators, or anyone willing or capable of exposing the truth and fighting the clear and present evil that has permeated the world and is now all around us. This is all by design and exactly the way that they want it. We are now living in the sick and twisted world created by the cabal of ruthless demonic elites which has all but taken over the entire planet and has attempted to turn the free and diverse societies and peoples which make up our planet into nothing but plebeian societies, vassal states and colonies which they exploit, rape and eliminate almost at will. As one of the last of a dying breed of truthers, I have witnessed the systematic infiltration of anonymous and compromise and elimination of almost all truth and almost all truthers. This elimination of truth has been helped along by misinformation operations and limited hangouts such as WikiLeaks and Assange, Hawkins, who called 9/11 false conspiracy, and Snowden, who orchestrated leaks of information we already knew, facilitated, gave justification to and made necessary the very mass surveillance he purported to have tried to expose. Yes, Snowden, Greenberg, by performing the spectacle he did, convinced the world and even Russia that the leak of classified information was such a danger and was so widespread that the only answer to protect state secrets was to unleash mass surveillance, and in his case on American citizens such as everyone with a security clearance, and of course on all foreign nationals and bodies who might facilitate the exposure of secrets or the scrutiny of their activities. Secrets is simply their label for information on the crimes they commit with impunity. We can mourn the millions of victims of the false flag, the free and sovereign countries that have been destroyed, the death and evisceration of the 9/11 truth movement, annihilated along with the global peace movement against their aggressive illegal wars, crimes against humanity and clear attempt at world takeover by the US/NATO and their satanic cabal masters, or those of us who are still sane and can never be convinced that 2 + 2 = 5 can rise up with the sword of truth and avenge the millions who have been eradicated and drive the dagger of truth into the very heart of their psychotic and out of control machine of death and destruction. For 21 years they have meticulously and methodically eliminated all of us, and there are now so few of us left that it clearly seems the fight has been lost, but that is not the case. God or the Great Spirit or whatever you label as the power of good and love cannot and will not allow these demons to attain a victory. Of this I am certain. As we have been eliminated, one by one, and with their almost complete control of the internet and the global media, it might seem almost pointless trying to fight them and exposing their plans, which include the upcoming genocide of most of the world's population and the chipping, DNA modification, brainwashing and total enslavement of those who are left of humankind. These plans for the new century were laid out long ago, and since September 11, 2001 they have systematically brought us to where we are today. If we are to stop them and bring back the rule of law and civilized behavior to our planet, as I have stated over and over, it all comes down to 9/11 and the truth and exposing the real terrorists who were behind it. As with my other recent videos, the initial focus has had to be on the media and the internet, but they have ceased to be instruments for spreading truth and information to the world and the masses and have become militarized, weaponized instruments of war and control against the peace-loving innocent people of Russia and the world, and have been used with almost open impunity by the Western cabal to do nothing more than spread the insidious, evil and calculated lies and disinformation of their satanic New World Order billionaire class. class, known as the elites, and as instruments to dumb down, distract, surveil and manipulate in order to facilitate the self-serving godless agendas that they wish to force-feed on all of us and promote. Without the media and the internet, however, they are impotent and powerless, and as I have done, recommend you to simply turn it all off and very carefully choose what you wish to digest. In this video, and with the repository of truth that is lulzsec.org, and jar 2 from John Robles and his publishing details of the pathos of his own life, we together with the start of lulzsec to zero sect to now Offcircuitsec, we have tried and will continue to unflinchingly attempt to get through the cognitive dissonance of the sheeple, plant seeds of truth, ferment and incite justice and goodness, and fight with every fiber of my being and with my dying breath the US/NATO global military-industrial intelligence complex and the New World Order cabal of globalists, corporations, banksters, Zionists and satanic elites, Uzanmik/Anuk cabal, who would destroy humankind in their satanic effort to play God and enslave humanity. The US/NATO military planners and architects call what they are doing achieving full spectrum dominance, which is something that a military body has no business doing. The military and security complex have overstepped their mission, which is supposed to be one of maintaining security and peace for the civilian populations. A military complex that is engaged in the destruction of countries, the control and enslaving of the civilian population, and operating as an expeditionary resource force for corporations and the elites, is not one that can be tolerated any longer by civilized humankind. The NATO atavism, which should have been disbanded when the Warsaw Pact was, has used gladio terrorism and fabricated threats to stay relevant and increase its scope and reach when in reality it was no longer needed. Who profited the most off of 9/11? Their Zionist entity, the bankster cabal, and of course NATO and the CIA, the tenet of full spectrum dominance, which includes geopolitical, social, economic, military, food, agriculture, space, media, manufacturing, resources exploitation, the internet and everything else you can think of, has no place in our multipolar world. Such is only an extension and construct of an empire and colonizer, but you are not supposed to know that. The world has not gone insane, as they would have you believe. The problem is that there are lunatics running the narrative. The all-out frontal attack on the Russian world escalates the satanic imperial would-be global hegemon and dictator of the world that is the US/NATO MIC, the Luciferian cabal that control it, and the global CIA/Mockingbird, continue their undeclared illegal hybrid war and illegal psychological operations against the largely unsuspecting civilian populations of Eastern Europe and the Russian world. With the recent successful extraction, after landing in Berlin on a private jet, of would-be Russian puppet President, CIA agent Freedom, Morris Greenberg fellow and Skull and Bones initiate blogger Alexei Navalny, whose criminal record makes him illegible to run for office in Russia and who had been banned from leaving Russia in 2018 in the failed color revolution attempt in Belarus by the same NED/USAID/CIA front scum in their attempts to overthrow President Alexander Lukashenko. We have seen clear evidence that the satanic Fourth Reich channeling West have no intention whatsoever of giving up their plans for global domination, full spectrum dominance and the enslavement of the humankind, and are in fact started down the road to the long-planned WEI confrontation against Russia and China we warned against. Never have the fakeries and fabrications of the cabal ever been more clear and obvious than with the two events mentioned above, and in close pursuit all of the events that have occurred recently as the New World Order globalist freaks continue their mad drive for a world, which God willing, they will never see and never create, but one which regardless of the facts, they believe they are close to bringing about. On this September 11th I recall the post-interview words of Dr. Kevin Barrett when I told him that I cannot lie, and he told me, "Then you are no use to the empire." Yes, but I can tell the truth and can do so freely, and that is their worst nightmare.